So I'll say good morning to the mayor because you are here with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Marcy. Good to be here in person.
Thank you for being here. So this is going to be just one of the largest construction projects in our city's history. We are not here just because this is a bit of a road paving. $757 million to widen Kenaston to 6 lanes from 4, to expropriate some properties in the way, and to replace both spans of the St. James bridges, which are dating. Kenaston is the busiest roadway in Winnipeg. It sees more than 78,000 vehicles every day. But as you've already been hearing on our live show this morning from Stella's here at Grant and Kenaston, there's a lot of questions and a lot of opinions about the plans to have shovels in the ground here in 2027. Here's a sample.
It's been minimal communication with them, both from the city level and anything in the planning. It's been 2 years since they've actually invited people to an open house to look at the plans, and over the years those have become fluid. We've looked at how they've added an intersection. There's at least 3 pedestrian corridors that are triggered. That means the person walks up, pushes a button, and stops the traffic and walks across the street. The other thing is that we're not seeing the increase in traffic that 78,000 vehicles, that's only up about 10% from the 90s.
I found over the years the way and I can't help but use air quotes, the consultation or the engagement sessions, even worse use of terminology. The way they're structured really is set up to kind of inflame people like the commuting cyclist versus the directly impacted homeowner who might have just found out before the session. Then they started having separate sessions for different groups of people, which is kind of your classic divide and conquer.
We're going to have better infrastructure. Just this past year, the pavement was redone on Kenaston, and that's been a huge improvement. This stretch has been severely impacted by the recent transit system changes. Our service has been cut down by about 30%. Which is difficult for me because I have certain mobility limitations, and it's very, very difficult for me to get quickly from from here to Grant or here to Corydon. So I'm hoping for better sidewalks, improved active transportation corridors, and ideally increased bus service.
Everyone has an opinion about Kenaston. Now, those are some of the immediate folks that live here around Grant and Kenaston. We heard there from Becky Lett, Kenaston Village resident. She's excited about this project, but she also has some concerns about access and what it's going to mean. We also heard there from Carol Stiles, her full story coming up after 8. She lives on Carpathia. She's been facing expropriation for like 2 decades. Sometimes the house is needed, sometimes not. She is not happy with how the consultation processes have happened around this. And then we heard from Larry Dargis, who was with us live earlier. He lives on Carpathia. He's the chair, actually, of the Kenaston Community Network. And as you heard him saying there, he also feels there's been minimal communication, especially in the last 2 years. Now, I'm also speaking to the audience, but I'm speaking to you too, Mayor Scott Gillingham. I know you heard all of these things. Let me just start with a big question. You have said this is not negotiable. We need to do this. Why do we need to do it?
Well, first of all, we do need to do it because we're not making decisions for the present state of Winnipeg. We're making decisions for the future state of Winnipeg. And, people often refer to it, I've heard you refer to it a couple of times, as the widening of Kenaston. This is not just the widening of Kenaston. The widening of Kenaston is one of many projects in this work. And it's about a third of the total cost. What is really critical is we need to renew the bridges. As you've indicated, 78,000 vehicles go over those bridges every day. And Kenaston, it's not a local road. It's not a residential street. It is one of the main transportation economic arteries in all of Winnipeg. And what we've got right now is we have the southwest of Winnipeg, which is quadrupled in its population in the last 50 years. It's the fastest growing part of the city. The northwest is growing rapidly as well. And Route 90 connects those two communities. And right across the street from where we're sitting today is now Odina.
Yeah, they're going to be on the air with us after 8.
Which will be the largest infill project in Winnipeg's history. It's one of the largest infill projects in all of Western Canada. And that will accommodate, at full build-out, about 3,000 residents, another 1 million square feet of commercial space. So the growth is happened, and it's going to happen even more.
What do you take to Larry's challenge? You heard him say, 78,000 vehicles, but he figures that's about 10% up from the 90s. So that doesn't seem like that big of a number from the 90s to have that increase. Why are you confident that moving forward it's going to be even more? Because of some of what you mentioned?
At a minimum, we're going to be adding 3,000 units of housing, which, whatever that translates to into the number of people and vehicles. And our economy continues to grow. What we've got right now is the section that we're talking about of Kenaston that needs the work. The bridges, the sewer work, the adding of bike lanes to this area, improving our transportation, the widening of the road. It's a choke point right now. Anyone who has driven Kenaston Boulevard knows that this is a choke point in the whole system, in the largest, or probably the most, the busiest transportation route.
When you look at how long this has been taking, I mean, we're going to hear from Carol after 8. She's been to consultation projects, processes as a resident here who may have her home expropriated, bought out by the city to build this. She says she knows something has to be done on Kenaston. She knows there's a process here, but she feels like the consultation, and she put it in air quotes to her to say that, has really not been that. It's been, we're doing this and here's what might happen. And she says a lot of people just don't have clarity here about what will happen for them as residents. And she does feel like people have been pitted against each other, like separating the consultations. Let's hear from the residents, and now let's hear from the active transport people. And she feels like the process has been a little bit of a mess. Is that fair comment?
Well, certainly there would, in my time, there would never be a goal to pit one group against the other. We just wouldn't do that. The goal is to communicate with the residents. I think there's been at least 5 rounds of consultation. There needs to be more communication with residents as we go. So that always, the goal is always to improve that. There's no doubt. And if residents are lacking information, please reach out to the city and ask for the information. We'll try to provide it. But at the end of the day, and it's important to talk to the residents, but if we don't get this project built, and if we don't include the widening as part of the project, what's going to happen is we will go down. We have to redo the bridges. We have to. They will go down to single lane in either way for up to 4 years, because each bridge will have to be done independent. And what that will do, Marcy, is it will push traffic. Trying to cut through, it'll push it into the residential areas, as happens already now, and we'll see people trying to cut through residential roads in Tuxedo and in River Heights.
When will residents have clear answers about whether or not their properties are going to be needed for this? You have 78 properties on the books, because people are in limbo. And they also say, by the way, Carol, who we'll hear from after 8, would say she doesn't want to leave the impression out there that she doesn't think things need to be done, the bridges and the roadways. It's just she feels the communication hasn't been clear. She doesn't know if her house is going to go or not. She doesn't know why bikes couldn't be going on parallel routes. Why do you have to widen it even more to have, parallel active transportation? She just feels like the process has been a little bit muddy. So when will people know if they're going to get their houses bought?
Well, as these projects progress, then certainly that communication will continue. If people need information they don't have right now, please reach out to the city and ask for that information. We'll try to get it to you. What we've got before us right now is a report that recommends we put $5 million into the city's 2026 budget to purchase lands that are needed.
Is that a low estimate? I couldn't make figure out the math, because Carol's house is going to be where this is conservative. I mean, in River Heights here, so this is conservative, $300,000, single family home. If you times that by 78, you're going to come up with over 23 million. You have $5 million budgeted. I don't get it.
Well, this is the recommendation of the public service based on their analysis of what we need to do as a first step. And so that's what the public service has said in their design, that we need to begin with $5 million for land acquisition to accommodate this work.
We can't do this without money from the feds or the province. Yes or no?
That's exactly right. Yeah, and all along, I appreciate you said, I heard you say it was part of my campaign commitment. It is. This project, in my estimation, needs to be done for the future of Winnipeg, for our growth. What we need, federal and provincial partnerships, and I envision that it would be a one-third cost-sharing arrangement. The
feds have said no to you twice, though, already on this, and now we're $20 million more year over year. What makes you confident that they're going to come to the table?
This is an economic trade route. It's one of the most important, if not the busiest economic trade route. The economy, a strong economy, is critical to the federal and provincial government. This also ties us into 17 Wing. It ties us into the airport as well. And, I know that the Prime Minister is really keen and really focused on making significant investments in Canada's defence. We have a large defence presence here in Winnipeg, and I think that this could accommodate that vision that he has.
Why did we have a plebiscite about Portage and Main? And, we had endless public discourse about that. And yet it may seem to some people listening across Winnipeg that they kind of have no say on Kenaston.
I think that political leaders need to make decisions. And I think it's time for us to make this decision for the future of Winnipeg. This is not about the present state of this city. It's about a project that needs to be built for the future of where Winnipeg will be in the coming years.
What do you say to those who champion a green city and feel this is continuing to fly in the face of that?
Well, this work will actually accommodate, it'll add bike lanes for cyclists, active transportation pathways for those that choose to walk.
But the argument, urban sprawl, more people going to the neighborhoods, and then the older neighborhood here is going to...
This is the largest infill project in the city's history. We'll have more densification here, right here, which really, for those who envision, that kind of design of a city, this project will accommodate and needs to accommodate the growth of up to 3,000 residents here, right across the street from us.
St. James bridges go to 1962, right? The spans?
I believe so.
Yeah. So what about Arlington Bridge?
Well, we've got money in the budget for that this year. We're starting the demolition. The demolition won't start in 2025, but we put money aside to do the demolition as the first step of Arlington Bridge and the redesign of a new bridge. Was
it ever considered to have it be 4 lanes? To have the active transportation lanes be taken out of the project as parallel, to use side streets instead, like Lockwood, for example, goes right through, and then to have it maintained at 4 lanes, and maybe have collector streets that could have been developed over the last 10 years. Why are we stuck on the 6 lanes? What do we understand about how traffic moves that makes that necessary?
A couple of things. It will, first of all, it'll accommodate the work of the rework on the bridges, right? We can't come to a place where we get down to 1 lane each way for up to 4 years. That would be traffic chaos. But also, the widening accommodates a better transit flow as well for those that want to use transit, better transit connectivity, more better safety in the intersections for this large infill project and the growth of what is going to be right across the street from us.
I know you have an appointment, so we have 1 minute left, so I'm going to respect that. I'm just telling listeners. I have to ask about busing. Becky brought up that. What will this mean for people that live right on Kenaston in this area to be able to access their bus routes? She's hoping for wider sidewalks. What's the reality of that?
Well, the reality is by doing this work and the project as envisioned, including the widening as one of the components, it will allow us to better accommodate buses and better accommodate pedestrians as well in a safer manner.
Just last then, 6 years of construction. Is that about what we're expecting if you get shovels in the ground in 2027?
The goal is 2027. I don't know if it's 6 years or not, but it could be that. We've been talking about this project for a long time. It's a complicated project, projects plural, because as I said, I think it's important that we talk about it's not just widening, it's several projects, all of which I've articulated today, and so that's going to take a few years. But again, one of the reasons to do all of this work, including the widening, is we can't get to the place where we're choking traffic even further. Can you imagine Kenaston Boulevard? Single lane, either way, for up to 4 years. Nobody wants that.
Thank you for being here live.
Thank you.
That is the Mayor of the City of Winnipeg, Scott Gillingham, here with our monthly check-in. But today we were just covering Kenaston.